Hello everyone. So when I was in Finland, I heard the government changed this, and this is to do with bus Éireann drivers, school drivers, and only CIE drivers. You know, the buses, the bus Éireann buses specifically, and probably local link buses and stuff too. But they were increasing the retirement age to 72 now, and of course this is because there's a shortage of drivers, etc. They can't get anybody to drive, and the main problem is this is just saying to the government straight that they're paying people fucking tuppence. If they give them the money that the politicians want, they get plenty of drivers, but they're giving them tuppence. And they're taking on people now that don't even know how to drive. So there's your problems. If you give people the decent money, give an Irish person a decent few bob, they might actually want to drive a bus, but it's the fact of the matter they want them to work for nothing, basically. Um, Say, for example, I heard on the local radio station, there was a driver talking about this. He's 40 years driving for Bus Éireann. And now they expect him to drive for a few more years because he was near retirement age. Now they expect him to drive for a few more years. And this is all to do with the government too. They want people to work until 70. We see this already. They're trying to push schemes to try and get people to work to 70 years old. Now, it's okay for the politicians sitting in Dáil Éireann and scratching themselves and fucking pushing a pen. But for a person that's to get up early in the morning at fucking, God knows, 6 o'clock in the morning to drive a bus from Timbuktu to Timbuktu, from Cork, say, to Dublin and stuff like that, it's not easy. No, it's a hard job. And of course, then you're dealing with people that won't pay and then probably cause disruption to the bus and then cause traffic. And it's not an easy life. It's a tough life. And then of course, especially if you're a school bus driver, it's a huge responsibility. In looking after kids, particularly primary school. I know so many people that drive young kids to school and buses, etc. That drive for Bus Éireann, etc. here in Cavan. And it's a tough job. They have to get Gowder vetted every year. And it's a tough job because it's hard to look after children that are going to primary school and stuff. But it's not easy. And of course, having to look after so many of them, and of course, to keep them safe and keep them belted in, etc., it's impossible, basically. And of course, anything happens at all, you're to blame. But this is the thing, it's utterly ridiculous to expect people to work on for an extra few years. But the problem is they just simply won't pay people. And that's the problem in this fucking country. They won't pay people the proper wage to do the job. Of course, the people in Bus Éireann, the CEO, etc., etc., is getting well paid. Don't worry, he's getting looked after well. But it's ridiculous that they expect people to work on an extra few years to bust themselves more for the state. Because let's be fair, the state couldn't give a shit about you or me. They hate us. They hate, particularly when you're Irish. They hate Irish people. They have utter disdain for the Irish people. Everybody else they love, but they hate the Irish people. But everybody suffers in the way too, because these people have worked a lot of their life. A lot of these people work years, and they shouldn't have to drive more times over. And particularly because again there's so many young people who can't get jobs, they can't find employment that actually pays the bills. And if we give them a few extra bob, the bus drivers, we give them a few extra bob, I'm just saying even give them an extra 5,000 or even 10,000 a year of a pay rise to give them, to get people, young people particularly, if we get a young person to, for example, to become a bus driver, do his training, etc., to become a CIE bus driver. You could give them an extra 30,000 for starting up, and as an incentive, I suppose, 30,000. The state could do it if they wanted to do it. They could fling out an extra 25,000 as a bonus for him signing on as a young person, something like that. If we done something like that, you get plenty. But it's the fact of the matter they're paying them shitty money. That I think it's only like a school bus driver and stuff. You don't get much. I think it's only about maybe 400 a week or something like that. It's not that much when you think about it. Especially the responsibility. Some of them are getting up at crack of the dawn in the morning and walking to the crack of dawn at night, and they get very fuck all for it. And you wonder why nobody. And again, this is the problem with nearly every part of the state. They won't pay people. They pay the politicians. There's plenty of them, but they won't pay the people doing the work, and that's the simple problem in this country. But anyway, let me know what you think. Do you agree with this? Because in the long term, it will work out. Because some bus drivers will say, "I stay on for another while," but at the end of the day, a lot of them probably will say, "No, I won't bother my arse," because why would they? Why would they go and bust themselves for another few years for the same money, basically? Because they're not saying about giving them any extra money. They're just saying, we're going to work you like a slave until you drop dead. That's pretty much what they're saying here. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more, and bye.